Hello peeps, this is Post-Production Pie with SRLounge.com. Now in this Lightroom 4 tutorial we're going to be teaching you guys how to create that ever so popular tilt shift effect with Lightroom 4 and with the Lightroom 4 preset system. Of course you can do it without the preset system, but we have it built in. Now this is one of those effects that I think is a little bit on the overused side, and it's one of those effects that's kind of very popular and kind of fatty, which means that in 5 to 10 years it might not be the one of those things that you look back on, you might not kind of enjoy it that much. It may not be timeless. So I kind of caution against using this too much, because later down the road you might look back and say, why did I ever do that? But there are some photos that it works really well on. There's also photos that it doesn't work so well on. We're going to cover that too. Now some of you have asked why we haven't included the actual tilt shift preset in the mixologies or in the presets over here on the left. The reason why is because with every single image our tilt shift or our plane of focus is going to change. If we create a preset with this effect, then basically with every single photo you need to adjust all of the graduate filters to adjust that plane of focus. So rather than doing that, we just created basically the graduate filter presets, and we're going to show you how to apply it. It's actually easier to apply than it is to adjust, so it makes more sense just to apply it with each photo. Alright, now here is how we would use this effect. If you guys want to create a really convincing tilt shift look in post-production, you have to make sure that basically you kind of follow the rules of tilt shift. Now what a tilt shift does is it keeps a single plane in focus. So for example, if we wanted to keep this couple in focus, then everything on this plane going out from where this couple is standing. So if I were to drag just a brush over it. So here is our line. So anything that's going across this line right here, that should be sharp. Anything in front should be blurred. Anything behind should be blurred as well. That's how you create a super convincing tilt shift effect. So this typically will work best on shots that are more pulled back. You're kind of shooting wider, the subjects are kind of on a single plane, and the background and foreground are very easy to kind of drag these filters over. Now images where it won't work so well, we've actually included 4 images in the tutorial. 3 of them it's going to work pretty well on. The last one it's not. This one right here, it's not going to work that well on. The reason why is because we have our subject here right here in this plane, but we also have a tree right here and these kind of these bushes right here, as well as a tree in the foreground. Everything here is sharp as well. So when we drag this filter over it, basically we're going to see kind of things on different planes all sharp, and it kind of pulls you out of the effect that you're trying to create. Alright, so let's show you exactly what we mean. So we're going to go to our first image. What we're going to do is we're going to select number 43 heavy desharpener, which is basically our lens baby or tilt shift effect. Alright, so we're going to drag this down from the top, and I'm going to start in the middle on the first one. We're going to go down right to basically where they're starting, so like right at the top of their heads. I'm going to pull down a second one. We're going to pull it back just a little bit, and then we're going to pull down a third one, and this is going to be only on the edge. Okay, now from the bottom we're going to create another one. We're going to go up from the bottom, go right to their feet. We're going to do a second one. It's going to go a little bit less, and we're going to do a third one that's going to go even less than the first two. Okay, so that creates a subtle, more kind of de-sharpen effect as you get closer to the edge. Now if you want to pull this effect in, we'd have to drag it in basically, but what you want to be careful of is that you don't make your subjects too unfocused. So what I sometimes do is I'll just delete one and I'll start again a little bit closer to them so we get a little stronger effect. I'll pull this one down all the way to the tops of their heads, and we kind of get that effect. Now check this out. On this image it works really well. We kind of get that toy camera, or not the toy camera, the tilt shift look in this, which makes them kind of look like miniatures because we're kind of following this plane of focus where everything kind of across this plane, a little bit behind them, but mostly in front of them as well, is out of focus. So we get a nice tilt shift look from this image. Let's go to the next one. Let's apply it on this one. Now we'll get a decent effect out of this one too, because even though these like the walls are basically coming on different planes of focus, they're kind of subtly going out of focus anyway, naturally. So when we apply this effect, we're going to still get a decent, tilt shift effect. So let's apply it again. You guys, if you like to apply it kind of slanted, you can do that as well. It's really up to you guys how you apply it and kind of what your vision is. But we're going to do basically the same thing. When we're applying this, we're going to pull down another one, and we're going to pull down a third one right from the top. All right, and then from the bottom, we're going to pull up one, kind of right to their feet. We're going to pull up another one, and then the last one. Alright, so still a decent tilt shift effect on this shot. Let's go to the next one. Once again, we can easily follow this rule just by doing the exact same thing. So we're just going to pull it down. You can notice that all these shots that it's working well on are these ones that are wider, where there's really nothing else in the frame that's like in the foreground that's going to kind of throw things off. So let's actually pull one. I prefer from this angle, but if you like, you can also pull it in horizontally. I'm holding shift, by the way, to constrain it to one direction. So if you like to go in this direction, you can also go that way too. It works as well, but it's up to you guys how you like your tilt shift, baby. Do it however you like. All right, I'm going to pull it down from here. I'm going to pull down another one. Since there's really nothing in the sky, I'm just going to pull it down close to the hill so we get a stronger effect as we get down closer. All right, now we're going to pull up one from the bottom. I'm going to cover the bottoms of their feet just a little bit, kind of go up their pants, and we'll pull up another one, and then our last one. Once again, if I click on this effect works really well. It kind of has a very convincing tilt shift look to it. Okay, now this is going to be the one that's not very convincing. So what's happening here is, like I said, because you can see that we have kind of these trees and other objects on the same focal plane, and or not on the same focal plane, on a different focal plane, but in different areas of the lens, it kind of will throw us off a bit. So let's apply the effect, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So I'm going to apply up from the bottom. I'm going to go one a little bit closer to their feet. I'm kind of going out of order, but again, I like to sometimes follow my rules and sometimes I don't. I kind of switch it up like that, All right, so check this out. I'm going to click on the graduate filters, and what we have here is we have them in focus. We are shifting planes as we get to the tree, and we've shifted quite a bit too. If it was just the walls that were out of focus or in focus, actually, it'd be kind of okay because the wall is fairly close to their same plane. But these trees are not. This tree is getting close to the lens, and this tree is very close to the lens, and it's in focus, and that kind of throws things off. So how you can adjust that and fix for that is go to a graduate brush instead of, or not a graduate brush, a brush preset instead of a graduate filter, and you're going to drag it over kind of the objects that are closer in frame, and kind of to get them out of focus. Shrink it down, go over this tree. Whoops! Don't drag over the background. Don't make a messy brush. All right, we're going to drag over that tree a bit. We're going to drag over this tree a bit, and it's a bit messy, but at least it's more convincing than we were before. So again, you probably want to get in close, kind of clean up some of this stuff. If these objects, this wall is fairly easy to work with because you really can't tell when it's in focus or out of focus. So it works kind of very well to kind of make these adjustments. But sometimes that object isn't going to work as well, and when you make these adjustments, it has to be very, very fine-tuned. Otherwise, you'll be able to notice, these kind of effects. Again, it's kind of a very, very quick and dirty way of getting this effect, but it looks better than when these are in focus, and it kind of just throws you out of the whole scene. So that's how to apply the tilt shift effect to your images, guys. Which kind of images it works best on, and kind of where to be careful when you have these images that are on several different focal planes that are all sharp. All right, I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll see you guys with the next video.